What up, what up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm J and we're locked in. This is the recap for HBO's new series Task that drops on Sundays. It's a cops and robbers. Task Force is after some guys that have been broke into some houses. And for us, it was a game that we played as kids, cops and robbers. To these unfortunate victims, it's their reality. Now, we know that Robbie did break into the house. Peaches got unalive and him and Cliff kidnapped Jayson's son. So they're trying to find that back while our boy Tom and his task force are on the heels of who's been doing these robberies. Now, before we jump into this and we break down this good versus evil, if you like cops and robbers, if you like a task force that's actually doing their job and putting together some clues, then this might be the show for you. Hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Make sure you hit that like button and help me get to 60,000 subscribers. But this is episode 3, the recap of HBO's show, Task. Robbie and Maeve, they're going at it. The last time we seen Maeve, she was coming back with little Sam, the boy that was kidnapped. He got back in the vehicle. Now she's yelling at Robbie. She's like, why did you do this? You're going to go to jail and you got us all involved. But now we get the backstory. It turns out Robbie's brother, who is Maeve's dad, he was deleted by Jayson in the Dark Hearts. Now the Dark Hearts is the motorcycle gang, and they actually beat Robbie's brother to death, and he had to shake his hand and act like he didn't know what happened at the funeral. So for Robbie, he's doing these robberies and robbing every single stash house they have because he feels since they took his brother's life, he needs all the money that he can get from them. Now he's telling Maeve, listen, just let me get $1 million and we can get from out of this, but don't tell anybody about the kid Sam we kidnapped. Tom's boss comes over, Kate, and she's the one that put this task force together for him and was like, you need to do your job because they're trying to make her retire early. Now, the whole crew is here, Aleah, Lizzie, Anthony, but Anthony shows up late and he's like, well, she said, I don't want to hear none of that. What information do you have? Now, they started piecing it together. They know about Peaches. They know where Peaches worked at, but they don't have any other leads besides the Dark Hearts and everything that they got going on. So she's like, all right, let's get to it, because she has a press conference later on in the day and she needs to be briefed on what the hell is actually going on. So Tom is about to put them into overtime because we got to follow these leads in order to make something shake and find out who has been doing the robberies and where is the missing boy. Now, if you remember back when Perry first showed up to Jayson's house, he was telling them, we need to figure out who stole this dope. Now, it couldn't have been the Dominicans, which is led by Freddie, and that's where they're at over at his spot. But they go and talk to him and like, look, we got the pipeline, you got the city, but if you help us find our dope, we'll cut you into 25%. But Freddie, he's like, nah, I don't want 25%. I want 50%. And he tells us a story of why he wants 50%. One, because they're hurting. Two, he ain't. But when he first came over here, him and his wife went out to eat and he went to a bathroom and a biker gang ended up whooping on him, knocking his teeth out, and then they urinated over him. So for him, he doesn't deal with biker gangs. But if you want his help, he wants 50%. Or he can F-U-C-K you like what's happening right now, getting F'd over in the game. All right, you're going to have to follow me on this one because we're getting into the weeds of this. Robbie and Cliff are trying to find out how to offload this drugs that they have, 12 kilos of heroin. But they also want to know, why did that robbery go wrong and it was drugs and not money? So they go and meet up with this woman by the name of Erin. Erin is now messing with Jayson and giving that inside information. How they know Erin is, she used to mess with Robbie's brother before he was deleted by Jayson, and then she started messing with Jayson and she's giving them the inside information. Now, it's a lot, but Cliff, he's mad because Peaches shouldn't have been deleted. So she's like, you can't move that dope. I've heard them talking. Anyone that moves 12 kilos of heroin, they're going to know exactly who did the robberies. So they just have to lay low. But that's not how much time that Robbie has. He's trying to get $1 million and get the hell out the city. This task force is really working, and they're doing exactly what they were told to do this morning. Get some leads and some evidence. So Anthony is at the police station. He's talking to one of the local police officers, and this guy, he runs the ballistics on the gun that killed Peaches. And when they find that out, they know that gun belonged to a biker who was at a shootout where 3 people from another gang died and 1 person from their gang died. So now they're doing these connections and they're trying to figure out who gun does that belong to. But they know that it's one of the Dark Hearts pistols that was deleting people at the little cookout and at the botched robbery. Damn, we own it. 3 episodes in. Tom and Anthony have the information about the gun, so they go to the hangout spot of the Dark Hearts. Now, Perry is in there, and he's over the whole chapter out here, and also Jayson. So he goes over, he's like, we know this gun belongs to somebody inside of your organization. But Tom also says somebody in your organization is leaking the information of when you guys are having your quote unquote drops. Because how could somebody with that gun who deleted 2 people in your own game be missing? And dope is missing. So right now, Perry and them, they're like, we got other ways to look for Sam, whether he's dead or alive. So Tom, he's not getting any information, but he's providing them some, like, y'all need to look within, because maybe somebody in y'all gang is leaking this information. Whole time it's Robbie, and it's because of Jayson pillow talking with Aaron. Maeve, she's been watching Sam. Wyatt, they've been going to school, so it's just her and Sam when she isn't at work. And they're out there, and he's just yelling, hey, dears, don't go on the street. You'll get hit. Be safe. So she's like, okay. But she's still worried about the blowback that's going to happen because they have this missing child. So she starts talking to Sam, and she's just asking him, because you could tell he wasn't raised with loving parents. He was in the basement of a trap house when he was kidnapped. So she's teaching him how to float, and she was telling him, when I learned, my dad just tossed me in the pool. So Sam, they're too close, and they should have gave nicknames, because Sam is going to be too close to them and know too much about them that he'll just mention their names, and hey, you'll find out who they are. Emily goes down to the jail. Her brother Ethan is in here because he deleted their adopted mother, which is Tom's wife. And at first, Emily, she didn't want to give a statement about her brother because she's heard about what he did, but she loves him. So now she's down here and she's actually talking to him because no one's visited him while he's been in here. And she's asking him about the suit. She's asking him, how does he feel? Is he okay? But at the end of the day, that's your family member. And she knows he's about to get sentenced. I think it was 3rd degree murder that he got. So it's about 15 years, 5 to 15 years. So it's looking like she's probably going to give a character statement and tell the judge why they shouldn't give him the max penalty. Even though her and Susan, they all agreed not to. Tommy and Cliff are still trying to find a way to unload this dope. They got 12 keys. So Cliff says he may know a guy. And this guy's name is Ray. Him and Ray, they were in jail together. Now Ray, it looks like he's out. He's on parole. He's refereeing. I definitely wouldn't trust him to ref my game. But it is what it is. And he's like, ooh, how'd y'all get 12 keys? I might know somebody that you can offload that. But it's going to have to be out of the normal chain. And what they mean out of the normal trade is you can't go to the major players, because if it's stolen dope, all the major players know about any robberies that have been going on. So he tells them, I might know a place. Now he has a girlfriend on the inside named Shelly. Now she's nervous and she's talking about, we gotta go. But she overhears them talking about some dope potentially being sold. Lizzie and Aleah been following their leads, and they went to where Peaches used to work. Now he's working at this sawmill, and they hand out flyers, and it's a $25,000 reward. So one of the gentlemen called him back off the flyer, and he's like, listen, how do I get this money? It doesn't matter if the kid's dead or alive. They're like, what information do you have? But he starts telling the story about Peaches getting a $3,000 ring. Then Peaches pulls out some money, like, take that, old man, I got money. And he's like, how'd you get that? Well, Peaches was running his mouth and told this co-worker that he was robbing dope houses because they would ride around in the trash truck. And this guy mentions Cliff's name. He said that Peaches and Cliff were doing the robberies. So now Aleah and Lizzie, they called Tom and Anthony and send an address to Cliff's house. Cliff was just telling Ray that they trying to sell the dope. Man, this thing is falling apart. Loose lips sink ships. Tom hears this information. They go straight to Cliff's house. They call up the SWAT team, tell them to start staging. Aleah said they'll be about 15 minutes on the next block. He's like, nah, this is imminent. We need to go in there right now because potentially there's a kid inside this house, so they don't need a search warrant. If they got a lead that a missing kid is in there, then boom, you can just go in there. But when they get to the house, they notice that the door is already open. So they're wondering what the hell, because they were going to be here doing a stakeout waiting for Cliff to get home. But it looks like someone else is already in the house. As they start searching the house, Aleah goes upstairs, Anthony goes downstairs, Tom, he's looking around. So they're searching the house. It's quiet, they're nervous, but you gotta be safe here. You gotta be cautious. You gotta keep your head on the swivel, because you don't know if someone's in this house. You don't know if there's weapons in this house. You don't know what's in here. So everyone, they're doing their search. No one's seeing anything. All the rooms are empty. It's quiet. The closets are empty. There's no drugs. There's no money. There's no guns. So it's looking like this is just going to be a complete waste of time on this search. Well, it ain't quiet in the house. Someone pops out. They start wrestling with Tom. Tom is talking about, Lizzie, help! Lizzie, help! Lizzie freezes up. Tom, he can't even fight back because he get caught off guard. Boom, boom, boom. They end up throwing Tom ass down the stairs. Tom busted his head wide open. Bow! The dude looks at Lizzie. She pulls a gun talking about stop. She should have been firing off shots. Pow, pow, pow. But she doesn't. This dude dips out the back door. I'm like, oh man, Lizzie, you just let Tom get whooped on. We don't even know if Tom's alive, but now we got a suspect. The perk is on the run. It turns out the guy that whooped on Tom was actually Ray. Lizzie started chasing him. Out the front door, Aleah tackled the girl. So Ray and the girl went over here to rob Cliff for the bricks because they knew that he had some stolen work. Lizzie chasing him down. Luckily, Anthony was in pursuit also. So Anthony tackles him because he was about to whoop on Lizzie also. This dude, Ray, never underestimate a junkie because they got superhuman strength, and this boy had that endurance. But Anthony comes over and saves the day. Lizzie froze up, and Aleah, she caught her damn body also. She apprehended the girl. Now Perry is asking around to his old lady, like, what's going on here? Who's making moves? And she's starting to point out people, oh, they're acting different. This guy's acting different. Kind of like when he had his PTSD when he came back, because they're trying to figure out if there's any leaks. Now, we know there aren't any leaks as of right now from any of the members. It's Aaron that's giving that information via Jayson. And it's not necessarily that he's pillow talking. It's more that she's overhearing everything that's happening, because she knew that the pickup got pushed back, but she couldn't give that information away at that time because she was with Jayson. So everyone is looking around and everyone is very cautious of what they say and do. They got Ray in the interrogation room. Tom got a grade 2 concussion, but he don't want to be seen anymore. He wants to figure out what the hell is going on. So they bring Ray into the interrogation room. Now Ray's holding it down. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I ain't do nothing. He's like, well, we got your girl in the other room. She'll tell us. He's like, she ain't gonna say nothing. She ain't gonna say nothing at all. So Ray, he holding it down. He's sticking to the G code. You don't tell the police nothing. All you say is, I want a lawyer. So Tom is like, all right, you ain't gonna be talking? Okay. In the other room, Aleah is talking to her, and Aleah is relating to her, building that rapport by talking about the domestic abuse that she went through, because Ray had a couple of charges that were dropped because Shelly didn't testify. So now they're connecting with each other, and she's giving up all the information. Aleah has a titanium plate, so when she said that, she started telling, yeah, there was a guy by the name of Cliff that came over to the house. He had a friend. She didn't know what the friend's name was, but she did hear about the dope. Now this is good leverage because Tom is about to use that on Ray. Tom gets all the information. He says around 3:15 p.m. you were getting ready to go coach a basketball game, but Cliff showed up with a friend. You guys had beers. You sat outside in the backyard. You talked about 12 kilograms of heroin that was supposed to be moved out of the normal channels. You said you knew a guy, so you're setting up the destination point. Is there anything else you want to tell me, or do I have to continue so you know that I know everything that went down? So Ray's like, all right, look, drop those charges. Tom said, all right, I'll drop the conspiracy charges on you. He's like, okay, look, I was supposed to set up a meeting point with Cliff. So they open up his phone and they send Cliff a text on Snapchat because it isn't traceable. So now they have that. So Tom gets ready to leave because they're about to set Cliff up. He said, what about that charge? He said, yeah, we'll drop the conspiracy charge, but you assaulted a federal agent. You'll violate probation. You'll be back in jail tomorrow. He's like, you son of a bitch. Tom was like, have a good day. Man, Tom ain't playing. Robbie, Cliff, they're talking about what's their move. They end up getting a text message from Ray, which was actually a setup on Snapchat to where they're going to meet at this park. What they're trying to do is sell this dope, get $1 million. And there was a guy that used to drive trucks for Robbie's brother. And he knows a route to get into Canada, and he might be able to smuggle them over. Now, if you're going to go on the run, Canada isn't a place that you want to go on a run to. Depending on the crime, yeah, you could probably lay low. But you want to get to Mexico and then try to get your way down through South America, Central America. You know, you want to get out there. You have a better chance because Interpol isn't going to be doing as much work as they will in Canada. But anyway, they got a plan and they got the text message, but they don't know that it's a setup. Tom gets home at the end of the night. Aleah drove him home because he's not authorized to drive. Lizzie and Anthony went out for drinks. And when he gets home, he's talking to his daughter and he starts having flashbacks about his wife. And well, him and his daughter, they still can't get over the fact that Ethan, the adopted son, was the one that deleted Tom's wife. And he loves Ethan, but that was his wife. And there's no way you can really get over that. You know, there's no way you can get over that. And we're going to see what's going to happen to Ethan. But right now, at least the task force is doing their job. You know, when you go to work, you got to leave all that personal stuff behind. You got to get the job done. But that's where we're at. All right, there you go. Episode 3, A Task. Now, I did mess up his wife's name and got her and the daughter's name mixed up, Susan. But y'all know what I'm talking about. Let me know what you think about it. Is the task force headed in the right direction? Or do you think that there's a route that Robbie and Cliff, well, probably not Cliff because they know Cliff, they know where he lives. Is there a way for them to get the hell out of America and go on the run with $1 million? Let me know what you think. I'm Mo.J. If you like this kind of content, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Help me reach 60,000 subscribers. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for watching. I'm out.
Jimmy on the beat, boy.